Have you ever turned on exposure compensation in manual mode on your camera and thought, wait, why it's not doing anything? Don't worry, you're not the only one. Your camera has been designed to act like that. So I'm going to tell you why it's not working and how you can fix the issue. So stay with me till the end of the video. Once you figure out that exposure compensation is not working in manual mode, the first thing that you do is you switch to aperture priority or shutter priority to take full control of your exposure, right? But what if you're like me, someone who loves to shoot in manual mode and still use exposure compensation? So just stick around and I'm gonna show you a simple trick that allows you to use exposure compensation when you're shooting in manual mode. First of all, let's take a look at aperture priority. When you're in aperture priority, you choose the aperture, meaning that you are in control of brightness and depth of field. The camera is going to take care of the shutter speed. In this mode, you can choose a minimum shutter speed and also use auto ISO to make sure that your exposure is correct. If you think that your images are underexposed or overexposed, you can also use exposure compensation to get a proper exposure. If you want to go deeper into aperture priority, watch this video of mine. Now let's take a look at shutter priority. In this mode, you choose the shutter and the camera is going to take care of the aperture. In shutter priority, you're in control of exposure and motion. You can freeze in action or you can create motion blur. In this mode, you can use auto ISO along with exposure compensation to control the exposure and get the proper exposure for your images. And if you want to know more about shutter priority with auto ISO, watch this video of mine. Here's why in manual mode exposure compensation doesn't work. Because in manual mode, you're in control of everything. You're in control of shutter speed, you're in control of aperture, and in control of ISO as well. Meaning that there is nothing left for camera to adjust automatically. But here's the trick. Just turn on auto ISO. As soon as auto ISO is turned on, you can use exposure compensation the way you were using it in aperture priority and shutter priority. Now let's take a couple of shots in manual mode using exposure compensation. Then I'm going to show you how to turn auto ISO and use exposure compensation on Nikon Z6 III. We are in aperture priority. I'm shooting at 1/25 of a second, f1.8. I'm dimming the light and you can see that shutter speed is dropping until it gets to the minimum shutter speed that I choose. Then ISO is gonna pick up to adjust for the light. If you find out your images are underexposed or overexposed, you can use exposure compensation. I'm increasing this image by one stop. Take a shot and then I'm going to decrease the exposure by -1 stop. Take another. We are in shutter priority. I'm shooting at 6.3 and I start to decrease the intensity of light. As you can see, the aperture is changing and it's going all the way down to 2.8. I'm going to use exposure compensation, increasing the exposure by 1 stop and take a shot. Then I decrease the exposure by 1 stop and take another shot. Let's try manual mode. I'm shooting this at 1/15 of a second, f2.5, ISO 100. I start decreasing the intensity of light, and as you can see, nothing happens. Shutter speed, aperture, and ISO do not change. The only change is going to be in the final image, that it's going to be around 1 stop underexposed. Now we're gonna use the magic of auto ISO. Just turn auto ISO on and then we're gonna increase the exposure by 2 stops and take a shot and decrease the exposure by 2 stops, and we're gonna take another shot. And this is the way to use the magic of exposure compensation in manual mode. To set the ISO and turn on the auto ISO, just go to the menu and go to photo shooting menu, ISO sensitivity setting, and I recommend that when you're shooting with auto ISO, just put the ISO sensitivity to 100. That is the lowest native ISO of this camera. You can turn auto ISO sensitivity on and off. Set the maximum sensitivity. I'm gonna set it to 3200, and minimum shutter speed, I'm gonna put it on 1/20th of a second. When you want to use auto ISO, just push the ISO button on your camera, and as you can see, I'm turning the auto ISO on and off. To use exposure compensation, just push the plus and minus button on the top of the camera, and you can increase the exposure or decrease the exposure by just turning the back veil. Exposure compensation is one of the most important tools in photography because it allows you to decide how bright or how dark your images appear. It actually lets the camera to handle mechanics while you're focusing and concentrating on creating the emotion that you want in your images. Thank you so much, guys, for watching the video. If you found it useful, just go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm posting a new video every week on Monday or Tuesday, And by subscribing, you won't be missing any of the future videos. If you have a question, just leave it in the comments. It's gonna be my true pleasure to answer them. And as always, take a good care of yourself, keep shooting, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.